laid and the certainty that those foundations now allow us finally to reach for our highest ideals as a nation. This has been a year that tested our resolve and our collective purpose. A year that demanded sacrifice and called for unity. As president, I am proud to say that together we rose to the occasion. When I addressed the nation at a time like this last year, I outlined the decisive measures we had taken in 2023 and 2024, not only to stabilize our economy, but also to begin turning it around. I said then that 2025 would be the year when we would start earning the dividends of the hard work we had undertaken together since 2023. And indeed, looking back, this has been the year in which our deliberate choices, sometimes difficult and often demanding, began to pay off. For the first time in a long while, Kenya is not guessing. We are not drifting. We are not gambling. We have set our targets. We have begun the journey. And we now have a clear roadmap to make 2026 a defining year in Kenya's history. Tonight, fellow citizens, this is not just a customary New Year address. It is a moment that calls on all of us to seize the opportunity before us, to walk together as one people, and to complete a journey that has been delayed for far too long. 2026 will be a watershed year in the story of our republic, a turning point in our march from promise to prosperity, a year that future generations will look back on and say, that is when Kenya changed course. We can speak of this moment with confidence because we are not starting from nothing. We are building on a solid foundation already laid. Step by step, we confronted difficulties, carved out opportunities, and laid a strong and formidable base for the future of our country. But the story of 2025 is not merely about numbers and statistics. It is about people, the hustlers, the mama mbogas, the border riders, the farmers, the traders, the entrepreneurs, and the workers whose toil, patience, and sacrifice have begun to yield tangible results. It is the story of ordinary citizens whose lives have quietly changed in very extraordinary ways. Kenyans like Mama Cherusha Mudhoni, whose dream of owning a decent home finally came true. For years, her family lived in a single crowded room, exposed to rain and cold, in dignity and fear, never knowing what tomorrow might bring. In 2025, that chapter of uncertainty ended. She moved into a modern, affordable home with clean water, electricity, a proper toilet, and cooking gas. For the first time, her children have space to study and play. Dignity replaced survival. The foundations we have laid have also enabled millions to access quality health services under our universal health care program. Today, more than 29 million Kenyans are registered under Social Health Authority. Across the country, stories of care relief, dignity, and support are being told quietly and powerfully by ordinary citizens whose lives have been transformed. Stories like that of Naomi Mutendwa Kilunda, a single mother of 6, who watched her 17-year-old daughter, Lydia, struggle daily with a severe and abnormal breast overgrowth that caused pain, limited mobility, and emotional distress. After learning about the SHA program through her local assistant chief, Naomi enrolled and registered her children as dependents. Lydia was treated at Kenyatta National Hospital, where SHA fully covered the cost of a specialized corrective surgery amounting to Kenya shillings 168,000, as well as all post-operative follow-ups. No out-of-pocket payments was required. Lydia has since recovered well, regained her confidence and dignity, and is preparing to resume her education in this new year as she joins Form 4. Let me tell you another story. In Kisumu, Christina Wino Onyango, a 41-year-old widow, mother of 5, and a mama mboga, faced a life-threatening diagnosis of stage 2 esophageal cancer. As a registered SHA member contributing 7,000 annually, Christine received comprehensive treatment at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. SHA covered medical costs exceeding 250,000, including diagnostic tests, specialized surgery, 5 days of intensive care, and inpatient and post-operative management. Her chemotherapy, scheduled to begin on January 15, will also be fully covered. These are not isolated stories. They reflect the experiences millions of other Kenyans have benefited from the outcome of deliberate policy choices. Ladies and gentlemen, for too long, farming was a gamble rather than an investment. Farmers planted and prayed, never certain whether the harvest would even cover their initial costs. That story has changed. With affordable fertilizer, certified seed, and the blessing of rains, yields have improved significantly. Food production rose significantly. Maize harvests are on course to reach the highest in the history of Kenya. Tea earnings surged. Coffee prices nearly doubled. Sugar production grew as imports fell. Livestock, dairy, leather, and meat exports expanded steadily. We expanded education opportunity through reformed merit-based systems. And we helped nearly 1 million Kenyans access jobs through housing, labor mobility, and the digital economy, with many more opportunities coming in 2026, going into the future. But even as we acknowledge this progress, 2025 was not defined by success alone. It was also a challenging year, one that tested our unity and reminded us of the responsibility guarantees every Kenyan the right to express themselves, participate freely in our democracy. But it also imposes responsibilities on citizens and leaders alike, to uphold the rule of law, protect life and property, and safeguard peace and stability. Our responsibilities are inseparable. In a thriving democracy, debate and dissent are legitimate and necessary. But our Constitution does not license violence or criminality. Differences we all cherish. Those entrusted with leadership carry a heightened duty to unite, to build rather than to burn. Kenya is bigger than any individual, any office, or any ambition. This republic belongs to all of us. And because it belongs to all of us, we share a duty to protect it. Ladies and gentlemen, as I announced during the State of the Nation address, 2026 marks the moment when our journey to transform Kenya into a first-world economy begins in earnest. What matters now is execution. But to speak honestly about the future, we must begin with the truth about the present. Today, nearly 4 in every 10 Kenyans live below the poverty line. That is more than 20 million of our people. Families working hard, yet struggling to meet their basic needs. While we have undertaken deliberate policy interventions to create employment under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, too many of our young people, especially those entering the job market, still wake up every morning without work to go to. This is the reality we are determined to change. When a nation chooses to organize its economy around work, production, and exports, when it invests deliberately in infrastructure, energy, and skills, and when it finances growth intelligently, not recklessly, something profound happens. Poverty recedes, jobs expand, and dignity rises. This is not theory. History shows us that countries like South Korea, Singapore, and Malaysia made national transformation a deliberate choice. Each organized its economy around work, industry, exports, and skills, investing deliberately in infrastructure and people. Poverty fell, jobs grew, a strong middle class emerged. These countries were not spared hardship. They prevailed despite it. Their success was built on elevated ambition, relentless determination, and sustained action over time. That is the path we have chosen for Kenya. That is the future we are determined to build. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear about our goals. We are committing ourselves to a measurable national mission. Number one, to cut the number of Kenyans living below the poverty line by half, lifting millions into dignity and opportunity. To cut unemployment by half, ensuring that millions of our citizens are productive, they are earning, and they are contributing to their country. And we will do this without crushing taxpayers or without saddling our children with unsustainable debt. That is why, in January 2026, we will fully establish and operationalize the National Infrastructure Fund and the Sovereign Wealth Fund, key instruments designed to underpin Kenya's transformation. The National Infrastructure Fund will serve as the central engine for aligning our financial resources with Kenya's development priorities. Through innovative mobilization of domestic resources, strategic modernization of mature public assets, democratization of ownership through capital markets, and the disciplined growing and deployment of national savings, we will unlock large-scale private sector capital while reducing reliance on borrowing and taxation. All proceeds, and I repeat, all proceeds from privatization will be ring-fenced and invested strictly in public infrastructure projects that generate and preserve long-term value. Every shilling invested through this fund will crowd in multiple additional shillings from long-term investors in the private sector. Alongside this, the Sovereign Wealth Fund will, for the first time, secure intergenerational equity, saving for the future, protecting future generations, and protecting the nation from external shocks, and investing in strategically growing national wealth, giving full effect to Article 201 of our Constitution. Together, these two funds will enhance by multiples the financing of Kenya's development agenda and accelerate our bottom-up transformation as we charge forward full steam to economic freedom and a first world economy. Through this framework, 2026 becomes the year of execution at scale. In this new year, we will complete the Talanta Sports Complex, ready to host major international sporting events, including the 2027 AFCON. We will also complete the state-of-the-art Bomas International Convention Center, restoring it as a premier venue for national and international conferences and positioning Kenya as the region's hub for international events. We will accelerate the tarmacking of the 6,000 kilometers of roads already contracted and underway across the country, including the Rironi-Mau Summit Road, which will be completed and open for traffic by mid-2027. I want to state that we already have resources to undertake the feasibility study to extend that road from Mau Summit through Eldoret to Malaba, and from Mau Summit through Kericho to Kisumu to Malaba. At the same time, we will start the construction of several new highways countrywide, as I did announce in my State of the Nation address. Ladies and gentlemen, in this new year, we will also commence the construction of the Naivasha, Narok, Bomet, Nyamira, Kisumu, Malaba standard gauge railway, creating a modern transport and logistics corridor linking Kenya to East and Central Africa region. Equally, we will launch the Galana Kulalu Dam, whose contract was signed yesterday, and several others as part of the expansion of our irrigation infrastructure across the country, with the ultimate objective of bringing 2.5 million acres of land under irrigation. We will also begin the construction of a modern, world-class airport at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to anchor our nation as the aviation's capital of our region and boost our trade and tourism sectors. I've just given you a list of the things that we will do in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, changing and transforming a country does not require a miracle. It requires a clear and bold vision and a leadership equal to that vision. The nations that have succeeded were not exceptional by accident. They were deliberate by choice. One bishop, I saw one bishop last week say that if others took 30 years to move to the first world, Kenya will take shorter because we believe in God. Fellow citizens, allow me to address a silent but deadly crisis confronting our nation today. Alcohol and drug abuse has become a clear and present danger to Kenya's health, security, and economic future. 1 in every 6 Kenyans aged between 15 and 65, that is close to 5 million people, are currently using at least one drug or substance of abuse. This is no longer a marginal issue. It is a national emergency. The burden falls heaviest on men and young people. 1 in every 3 Kenyan men in this age group uses drugs or abuses alcohol. Among young adults aged between 25 and 35, our most productive population, 1 in every 5 is affected. Over 1.5 million young Kenyans are being pulled away from opportunity into dependency. Alcohol, and I repeat, alcohol remains the most widely used substance, with more than 3.2 million current users. Initiation often occurs between 16 and 20 years, and in some cases, as early as 7 years, exposing children to lifelong harm before even adulthood begins. Kenya cannot grow. Kenya cannot compete or remain secure when millions are trapped in addiction. This crisis demands decisive national action. Accordingly, going into the new year, the government will confront alcohol and drug abuse as a national